What's up, guys? As I promised, I'm back on. Gonna try to be as consistent as I can with these lives. Try to be on at least once a week, every Sunday, around somewhere between 8 and 10-ish. 8 and 11, more or less. Be on at least an hour. So, ta-da, here I am, guys. Welcome back to another live video of Bear Gabriel. You should come to California. It would be great to meet you. Well, I'm planning to come back to California. I was born and raised in Cali, specifically the Bay Area, but moved over to Southern California. Lived in Los Angeles for a time, lived in San Diego for a time, but I'm over here in New Mexico at the moment, Albuquerque. Pretty cool place, but I'm making arrangements to move back as soon as possible. Just got some business I need to take care of real quick. But I will be back soon, so maybe we can, any of you like-minded folks, we can have a meetup. Talk shop and, see what we can do to, as the title of this live, discusses, wake the giant. Wake the sleeping giant. Waking the sleeping giant. What does that mean? It means to wake up the majority of the, it means to wake up the majority of the population of this continent, which are in fact indigenous descendants, Native American descendants. So that's what waking the sleeping giant is, guys. And it's important that we bring that home. And I'm happy that, my YouTube channel is growing. Getting to meet you wonderful folks, getting to connect with you guys, and you guys are connecting with each other. And we're creating a community that is bringing these issues to the forefront of activism. Our activism is very surface level right now. Our issues are very surface level right now. The kids in cages, the border issues, the issues with racism against brown people. It's spoken about in such a way that it's very, it's not really painting the whole picture. Because if we look at the whole picture, it's not just an immigrant issue, it's an indigenous issue. Because we are not immigrants. You can't be immigrants on your own land, your own indigenous homelands. We as Native Americans, we as indigenous Americans need to wake up to the fact that these children in these cages are in fact Native. They are indigenous Americans, the vast majority of them. The vast majority of Mexico, the vast majority of Guatemala, the vast majority of all these different places in what is so-called Latin America, the majority of the population are indigenous descendants. They're lost. They're lost to the reality that they are indigenous. And, there's a term in Nahuatl, the Mexica language. Other nations spoke it, but most popularly known to be spoken by the Mexica people. There's a term, it's called Napantla, which means the in-between. And we so-called Mexicans, Latinos are in a very, we're in a very specific place. We are in Napantla. We are in the Napantla. We are in the in-between. We are in a place where we some of us know of our indigeneity, but we don't feel like we have a community because of the circumstances of colonization. We are detribalized, and many of us are trying to retribalize and figure out what nation we come from. We are in a place where we don't feel like we have a space where this issue of detribalization and de-Indianization amongst Latinos and Hispanics and Mexicans is really talked about. And, this is the exact reason this account exists, to shed a light on our history, to shed a light on our greatness as a people, to shed a light on this situation, and to navigate it as a community, to navigate it as a people. So, thank you all for joining me as we are coming together right now. Over here it's 10:38 Mountain Standard Time. But right now we're coming together and we are creating a space for it. So I think that's very powerful. Bear, I'm Guatemalan and Mexican mix. I'm from Cachiquel people. I'm a mestizo. I feel lost because I am white-skinned Indio. My fellow natives do accept me, but it's hard being mestizo. I'm from New Mexico. Well, I'm not from New Mexico, but I'm living in New Mexico right now. If any of you are in New Mexico and you want to meet up, get a coffee, talk shop about these issues, I would be happy to do it. As long as you're not a weirdo and you're not gonna murder me and pull a Jeffrey Dahmer or something. But other than that, I'm down. But it's interesting you say that. I think it's important to acknowledge that natives, we come in all different shades and colors. This idea that all Native Americans, all indigenous peoples have, black hair, dark skin, and have certain features, and that we're the same all across the board is a stereotype. Some of us have lighter skin. Some of us have lighter hair. Some of us are taller. Some of us are shorter. Some of us are very, very dark. Some of us are more moderate in skin tone. These are important facts. It's okay to be of a lighter skin because being Native American, being an indigenous American is not a monolith. We're not all the same across the board. Does someone who's from, we can even compare that to any group, even outside of Native American people, even Europeans. Does someone who's Italian from Sicily look the same as someone who is Scandinavian from Finland? No, they can look very different, but yet they all fall under the umbrella term European. The same can be said for Native Americans. You're from New Mexico, that's very cool. I'm actually in Albuquerque myself, so feel free to hit me up if you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm more than happy to, talk with y'all and meet up. And, like I said earlier, talk shop. Yes, New Mexico is a beautiful place. Has a beautiful, rich history too. But my heart, my spirit, I'm born and raised in California, and I miss where I was born and raised. I miss California, but I love New Mexico. There's nothing wrong with this place, but my home calls me. So I gotta go back very soon. Hermano, by no means, it's always an honor to meet you and to talk about us Native Americans from quote-unquote Latin America. It's an idea. If you want to, we could set that up. If you don't, that's fine too. Whatever the case, I'm here as a friend. I'm here as a relative. One day visit West Texas. You're going to like dust. I think I would love Texas. I hear you guys have an amazing culture. I would like to try your barbecue. I hear your barbecue is very good. The best barbecue in probably arguably the Americas. It's interesting. Barbecue actually comes from indigenous peoples, indigenous Americans. I believe it was the Taino and the Arawak peoples of the Caribbean that actually started the tradition of the barbecue meat. You know, I believe it was, I forgot the exact pronunciation of it, but even the word itself, barbecue, comes from a Taino word. I'll make a short on it, like I've made a short about other subjects. I'll make a short of that. Really, I'll do some research and I'll make a short of it so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But the word barbecue, the the preparation of the meat and the style comes from the Taino Indians of the Caribbean. I'm staying in Bernalillo. New Mexico is a great state. New Mexico has a rich history of Mexican and Native history. It definitely does. There's no arguing that. But anyway, all those coming in, hello. Feel free to ask me questions. Yeah, feel free to ask me questions. I did a little introduction, but y'all who know me, you know me. Y'all who don't, this is a channel that talks a lot about politics and activism and history. But feel free to ask me questions as long as you're respectful. You should go visit Chicago, Illinois. There's a lot of Mexican native culture out there, especially the south side of the city. Also very good food. Maybe one day I will. I hear good things about Chicago. Hello, Acerola. Acerola. You should do a video on the idea of mestizo in Mexico, the mestizo problem. I've thought about doing it. I've kind of touched on it on other videos. I made a video about Latinos waking up to their indigenous identity, reclaim their indigenous identity. And I've touched on it pretty good, but you know what, maybe I need to be a little bit more on, hit it on the nose a little bit more. So I said I like Tool. I listen to some Kendrick Lamar. I like Leonard Skinner. I like. I do like some Elvis, even though I hear he was, maybe a racist. I'm not sure. I'm not really like into the history of Elvis like that, but I like Howlin' Wolf. He's really great. Um, Honestly, Citrus Moon, I completely forgot the song you recommended me. It was pretty late at night, and I just forgot what was the name of the song. I'll check it out, or maybe I did. Just depends. I just found out not too long ago that I'm Pura Pecha. I always knew deep down in my heart, but my hair is curled. I thought I was mixed with black, but I'm 64 American native native from Michoacan, Mexico. Yeah, a lot of folks are from Michoacan and have Pura Pecha ancestry. That's awesome that you found that out. Congratulations. I'm happy for you. That's great that you did the work and you were able to find that out and pinpoint it. A lot of people want easy answers. They want quick answers, and a lot of people don't have the patience to try to reconnect in a way where, they're doing they're doing the work and they're being tactful about it. How do you shower your hair, or what do you use on your hair? It's a great question. I've been just using rosemary, right, as of recent. Rosemary and other soaps. I'd have to check. I just got a new one, but I'd have to see what is exactly in the ingredients. A good chunk of me is Cherokee. I'm not sure if it plays into how I am as a person, but I think it's a cool thought. Well, if you think it's a cool thought, that's great. That's up to you. I always encourage people to connect with their roots wherever they may come from. But this channel, my lives are dedicated to talking about Indigenous history and Indigenous issues. So I would say try to reconnect to it if that's what you feel. I'm not here to force you to do anything, but I highly recommend it. When I did my DNA test, I found out and reconnected with the Huayarica tribe from San Luis Potosi, Mexico. That's amazing. Those are an amazing people, a very beautiful people. You should be proud. Do you boil the rosemary or use an oil? I use a soap, an organic soap. I'd have to see. I don't know if they boil it or not, but as part of their preparation. But we'll have to, I'd have to see. Have I listened to Indigenous metal bands? Yes, I have. I've listened to some. I'd have to check that out, guys. Native Threats and South Central Farms by Red Cloud. My hair gets so thick that it takes too long to blow dry that. That's how I know it's time for a cut. What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome. Do you trip? I've taken peyote. I've taken it twice, 2 different times, one in Mexico, one in Washington, when I was visiting a tribe up there for an activist trip, protesting the ICE detention camps from, I believe it was from Los Angeles to San Diego, and then we traveled all the way over to Puyallup, Washington. And we went to different ICE detention centers and we protested. And during that protest, we went to the reservation and, you know, we did do peyote. It was a terrible experience the first time around. The second time around in Mexico was a lot better. It was a lot more calm. And I was by myself for the majority of it, so it was a lot more chill. So somewhat, I wouldn't say I trip. I don't like just do it to feel like, you know, to go on a journey or anything, but I use it as a medicine for spiritual purposes, for traditional, in, you know, the traditional way. You know, but to each their own. Tell us some jokes. A joke. I know some really disgusting jokes, but I don't want to say that. That's not what this. That's not what this is about. That's not what this account is about. This channel. I just know really ugly, weird, gross ones that I don't feel comfortable sharing. But I don't know any like chill ones. They're just all really dark. I use it for the same reasons. Okay. Okay. What is the topic for tonight? There isn't really any topic in particular. I just said, Wake the Giant. You know, talk about raising awareness towards our people's indigenous identity. We talked a little bit about different history things. We talked a little bit about, you know, the origin of the barbecue and how it's originated in the Caribbean from the Taino native people. I did kind of start this live a little late over here. It's like 11, and it's been a busy day, so I'm not the most energetic. I do play a little bit of guitar. I don't know if it's tuned. Doesn't sound tuned to me, but I'd have to use the guitar tuner on my phone. I don't really know how to tune it by ear yet. I'm very much a beginner. Let's see if I can play something on this untuned guitar where it doesn't sound completely like shit. We'll see, guys. Fuck. I'd have to tune this motherfucker. It sounds terrible. Okay. It's like I want to play, but I don't want to have to turn this off and then tune it and then go back again. That's enough of that. All right, guys. I think I'm gonna cut it short. I tried. Just really tired. Astral project. The desert brings strange energies. I didn't astral project that time, but I did, I had some crazy experiences. Supernatural things I believe in. It's a great question. I believe in the ability to, I think that we can, supernatural, I believe in prayer, but not in like a Catholic Christian sense. I believe it in more of an indigenous sense. I do believe in the power of prayer. Communication with higher being. And I don't mean that in like a new age kind of hippie sense. I mean it in more of an indigenous sense. I'm just using it in palatable terms that you guys may understand, rather than trying to say, other cool, like a hive mind. I mean, you could interpret it that way, but I interpret it. I mean, it could be considered a hive mind. I mean, why not? But I don't necessarily. I just mean the great spirit, the great beyond, the great mystery. I know many Lakota call it that. Um, just the unknown, the spiritual forces of the world. I believe in praying to that. I ask for help. I ask for guidance. I think it's healthy. I think it can be even a meditative experience. It can calm you down. Yeah, I always feel better. I notice afterward. Just honing in, closing my eyes, and focusing in on trying to communicate always makes me feel better. I also believe in the power of meditation, breath work, and a lot of people might think that's exclusively, from Buddhism or from Hinduism, but it is a indigenous American practice as well. Understanding that those things are native to the Americas. Can you guys tell I'm sleepy? I'm just kind of curious. I'm probably not going to put this live up because I'm so sleepy and out of it. I'm still going to, stay on for about 29, 30 more minutes just because I promised. But I don't know if I'm going to post this one, guys. I'm just so out of it. I had to do a lot of stuff today. But I'm fighting for you guys right now because I made a promise that I do this every Sunday. I'm tired, but I think I could probably pull through 28 minutes. It's not that big a deal. What about supernatural animals? Maybe not even that crazy, like Bigfoot. I mean, I believe in the Nahuals. I do. Nahuales, shapeshifters. I believe in. I believe in the Wendigo. Some form of it, yeah. I also talked about earlier. I talked about little people. I believe in the giants, that there was once giants in the Americas. I do. Some called them the red-haired giants. Because I've done a lot of research on it, and there's been a lot of different stories that are pre-colonial that mention giants. Wars with giants. They found bones in the Lovelock Cave. The Paiute. They called it the giants Siteka, which were the giants of the area that they waged war with. And I found that very interesting. I believe it. Yeah, some people call them Nephilim. If you're taking more of like a biblical approach to it, then yeah, it's called they call them the Nephilim. The demi-angel. I don't call them that. I try to take more of an indigenous approach. I call them, Seteka. Right now, me and my friend, we're actually writing a short film. We're working on a short film about giants and our native, it's like a native horror movie. Do I believe in the duendes? Duende in itself was actually introduced by Europeans, but there's in Guatemala and southern Mexico, there's a similar cryptid, similar story called the Alush. And the Alush were Highland Maya. They're from the Highland Maya. It's basically, and there's been sightings of them. They're like little people. And a lot of traditionally a lot of the Mayan people, the Highland Maya, they create little homes for them, and they're said to be statues that kind of come alive. Or clay figurines that come alive, and they can protect you and they can help you, or they can be a pain in the ass. If you come onto their homeland, or if you come onto the sacred territories, for instance, a lot of security guards at certain stadiums in Guatemala and southern Mexico have, they've reported, sightings of the Alush, these little beings. They're like the size of a leprechaun. They're almost similar to they're kind of like the Maya equivalent to the leprechaun, in a way. They're not the same, though. They're completely different, but they're similar. There's some similarities. So yeah, look up the Alush. Very interesting. I didn't know there was a black Spanish colonizer. Yeah, there was. His name was Juan Gallardo, or at least that was one of them. Juan Gallardo was a Spanish colonizer who assisted the Spanish conquistadors. He was considered a conquistador, and he did assist in the colonization of the Americas. But something to be aware of is that just because this particular guy was, black, doesn't mean that it was a common thing for there to be black conquistadors, and for, or that, to generalize and say that, all black people, or black people in general as a whole, strongly assisted with the colonization of the Americas. That was just one particular individual that was kind of a rare case, to be honest. So that's something to acknowledge, point out. A lot of people like to point fingers to that specific historical figure and like to jump to these conclusions. Just like some native tribes did own slaves, but that doesn't mean that every single native nation is a monolith and supported African slavery as a whole. They did not. It's important to also look at, the bigger numbers, the bigger picture. For example, the Seminole Indians of Florida were assisted by, African slaves. They aided African slaves in the biggest slave revolt in U.S. history, which was the Seminole Revolt. So those are important things to note. And I think it's important to also acknowledge, when we say duende, when we say giants, when we say Bigfoot or Sasquatch, we're calling them by names that, and we're looking at it from a viewpoint of, it does come from Eurocentricity, right? It comes from American, Euro Anglo view of what these beings are, what these creatures are. But we also have to acknowledge that, from an indigenous perspective, from a historical and spiritual perspective, these beings are very different. They have a different, they're viewed in the relationship with the indigenous people, and how we see them is different than, what they have been labeled and described by, the Anglo-European. And I think it's important that we acknowledge that what you may call a DMT elf, right, or what you may call a Sasquatch, or a duende, or the list goes on, etc. These have different names. The giant, like I said earlier, is called the Siteka. by the Paiute people. And it's just important to note these things. What you call a duende, right? That was what the Spanish largely called them. But the Highland Maya referred them more to, they have a whole different perspective on what these beings are, and they were called the Alush to them. Just kind of going on a rant right now, guys, but I'm putting in the work right here. I like to educate. It's been a long day. I'm trying to put it out there. You know. I'm pushing. I'm pushing right here. I'm fighting. Um, I hope you guys can see the effort. But yeah, check it out, guys. Check it out. But the Nahuale, the Nahuals, Nahuales. Check this out. What is the difference between a skinwalker from like a Native American, Indigenous American culture like the Diné Navajo, and a Nahuales? Well, there's two main differences. In Diné culture, and I'm not, I don't know everything there is about the Diné, the Navajo. I try to kind of focus more about uh, indigenous people of Mesoamerica. And oh god, my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second, guys. Oh yeah. So what I was gonna say was, in the Diné culture, it's more of like something to be kind of more scared of. Like it's kind of seen as like a kind of a spooky tale. Don't don't whistle at night. You might get the skinwalker to come out. Don't call it by its name. You don't want to attract it. Blah 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 blah. And a Nahuale in like Mesoamerican, Mexica, and Chichimeca, other cultures, it's not necessarily bad, Even though when you look up the Nahuales on the internet, you come to like creepypasta-esque depictions, scary horror movie type depictions of a Nahual. But the reality of the situation is that they can be good and they can be bad. They're much like human beings. And there are good Nahuals out there, like there are bad ones. Shapeshifters, some scholars argue that they're one and the same. That a skinwalker and a Nahual in Mesoamerica, Mexico, and a skinwalker in the Southwest, Diné and Navajo, are essentially one and the same, but they are different. They have different cultures, but they are both able to tap in my opinion, they're both able to tap into a power. Any thoughts on anything otherworldly, physical, universe, and their beings? I will say that I know in many different cultures, the what is commonly referred to as a Sasquatch, right, is, in many different cultures is seen as an interdimensional being rather than a physical one. And that is, that's pre-colonial. That's pre-introduction to Europeans coming into our lands. It's the idea that the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, is comes in and out from our world, from their world, and they're seen as a guide to guide us towards the right direction, the right path. a better path. But because, and they used to have a better relationship with our people. This is what an elder told me in a sweat lodge. And essentially what happened was we lost our way, we got more materialistic, we got more fucked up towards um, the four-legged beings, and other different animals and life. We got out of balance, and the reason why they hide themselves in and out of the dimension more so than they used to is because they don't trust us. They think we're fucking evil. And I can see why. I wouldn't trust us either, knowing our track record of conquering and demoralizing people. I mean, even look at Palestine. Look what's been going on. Thank you for the compliment. I appreciate that. All I'm saying, guys, is if you get caught up in the new age perspective on things, that's fine and dandy. Okay, fine. A lot of it has origins in paganism and other cultures, and that's great and dandy. But we have to look at it too, like, ask ourselves: are we getting caught up in a kind of a colonial narrative, a European Eurocentric narrative of things we don't really understand from indigenous cultures? Because we look at the history that the European has given us about the Sasquatch. I mean, they're relatively new. The European, we have to remember, is relatively new to the continent of the Americas, right? It's a fact. It's a fact. But if you look at, we have indigenous history, right? That is thousands upon thousands of years old. From different cultures, not just one, but many diverse nations across North America, Central and South America. And I think that to ignore that and to prioritize a narrative, we're not doing the history of this being justice. And that's just my 2 cents. That's just my 2 cents, guys. I'm not trying to be an asshole. I'm not trying to be that snobby little know-it-all, but I'm just giving my opinion, guys. Take it with a grain of salt. There is no sleeping giant, just a bunch of zombies. Well, you can have that pessimistic take, and it's not necessarily a wrong one. It's a very cynical take, and I understand the frustration with that. But sometimes I think the same thing. But I ain't falling for it. That's what the colonizer wants. I ain't falling for that shit. I have a lot of faith. I have a lot of hope, guys. And I think that we'd be falling for the trap if we were to truthfully believe in it. I don't think that our people are going to be stuck as zombies forever. In fact, I've been following this movement since I was 12 years old, guys. I'm 26 now. So what does that tell you? I have seen this, the growth of this movement on the internet since I was 12. And when I was 12, it was tiny. It was little. It was so little, like a pea, right? Like a little pea. Not even a pea, it's like a little pencil dot. And now, I would say it's a tennis ball. No, I'd say it's a golf ball. Yeah, it's like a golf ball. But it's starting to become a tennis ball. But hopefully by the time I'm an old man, it'll at least be a basketball. I'm tripping out, guys. Sorry. I'm just tired, but I'm fighting, guys. I'm fighting. And hopefully one day it'll improve. But it is improving. Like, it is growing. There is some improvement, I should say. There is some improvement. It's nowhere where we need to be. You know, the mere fact that we are the largest genocide in recorded history, but the least talked about and the most gaslighted, is something that is just ridiculous, you know. And, you know, I feel like people are okay with being anti-Indigenous, you know, but they're not, you know, but everyone is super okay, you know, everyone's okay with, you know, everyone isn't okay with being anti-black or anti-Asian. That's a no-go. But when it comes to being anti-Indigenous, I feel like the same type of like, you know, there isn't that same type of like, oh, that's fucked up. You know, it's not the same. It's like, you know, this is our land, these are our homelands. We are the Indigenous people, and it's just not, you know, our voices are the least, you know, our voices are the least respected. And we are the original people of this land. In fact, I think that our voices should be, you know, we should be the most respected on our own lands. You know, call me crazy, but that's just the fact. You know, the traditional Indigenous peoples, the detribalized, retribalizing, reconnecting, whatever you want to call it, reclaiming, you know, all Indigenous peoples. All Indigenous. I'm from a reservation. I never claim to be from a reservation. I'm not from a reservation. But on our lands, like I said, our voices are on the lowest of the low in this hierarchy that is out here, you know. We need to be more vocal. But with being more vocal comes threat. I understand that. It can be scary. But we have to understand that our power is very strong. And our unity, we can be unified, guys. It's not impossible. We've done it. Historically, we have the evidence to prove it. It's just, you know, I blame social media. It promotes so much fear-based mindset. It promotes so much insecurity. There's so much gatekeeping. There's so much toxicity. There's so much chisme. There's so much gossip. There's so much tearing down and bringing up the negatives of your fellow brother, your native brother, sister, and relative. You know, we fall for the trap, guys, but we need to see it what it is. There's a reason why socially we were taught to hate ourselves, but there's also a reason why socially, you know, chisme has been so normalized in our culture. Because chisme keeps us castrated. The gossip, talking bad about your relative behind their back, if they aren't picture perfect. I mean, the lack of empathy we have for our community is so big. You know, I'm not trying to be overly negative and cynical just for the sake of it. I'm bringing these issues up so we can see that this cynicism, you know, the cynical nature, this negative nature of gossip and tearing each other down, this crabs in the bucket mentality, is contributing to the fact of our own demise. What state are you from? I'm from California. It's not scary, it's fun. Fear is like brain aids and contagious. I think that you're absolutely right. I think fear is contagious. I think that most of us have it. I think that a lot of us are we have the fear-based mindset. We're super insecure, super insecure. Social media doesn't help that. It promotes it. That insecurity is killing us. And that insecurity feeds into that need for self-validation in toxic ways. And I think that we need to address that as a community, and I think we need to heal. And I think that this isn't unique to just indigenous peoples, but it's really for all peoples, white, black, whatever, Asian. I think we need to solve it. I'm not going to shut you out. I don't even know who you are. But it's important. It's important. I think a lot of people too want to reconnect. I think they want to reclaim. I think even the people who are so critical of wanting to reclaim their indigenous roots, saying that they can't do it, that they're Latino, Hispanic, they devalue, hide, critique, criticize, ignore, pretend that they have no indigenous roots or Native American ancestry, indigenous American ancestry. At the same time, they're just doing it because they feel like if they were to go down the path, that it, they wouldn't be accepted. They feel like it's important that we see what it is. My day was pretty good. Had a good, productive day. A lot of people come on here. They think that I'm here to play, play some sort of role that's non-serious. I can loosen up. I can have fun with you guys and whatnot, but I'm dead ass serious about what I'm about. It gets too serious for a lot of you guys, and I respect that. But I'm just being myself. I'm just talking about what I find important. I'm in New Mexico, Albuquerque. Yes, the biggest thing to heal is the victim consciousness. The shackles, the mind, a big hindrance. We get past that and we get productive. I agree. But I think we need to be careful how we use that term victim mentality, because oftentimes just talking about the history of colonization, just bringing that up, like I said, largest genocide in human history, least talked about, Native Americans. By the numbers, the largest in recorded history. I've done the research, I've seen the data. It is the largest. And to hear that is just victim mentality, just the mere fact that I find it important to at least educate people on it, right? that same type of rhetoric isn't said to people who are victims of the Holocaust or who are, experienced. They always say, never forget, always remember. Same thing happens with 9/11. Terrible atrocity. Do not condone that. Terrible thing. But when Native people talk about the perils that they have experienced from the injustice that has historically happened, to be gaslit and to be minimized for speaking up about it is incredibly frustrating. So I think that, while yes, I do think that the victim mentality is ultimately, I do ultimately think to a certain extent it is unproductive. I also think that we need to see that it's important to talk about certain historical things. One thing I'm good at, guys, is I am a yapper. I love to talk because I don't really talk much. Ultimately, I like to think I'm a pretty quiet dude. Like outside, so I am a yapper. I ain't gonna deny it. Someone called me "stop the yapping, bud." Well, you're at the wrong place because I'm a yap. I'm gonna yap some more. I hope you guys enjoy my yapping. But again, just my 2 cents, guys. I've rekindled a little bit of energy to talk about random shit, so you guys are in luck. Darnell Dodge, I really respect your perspective on the world, but I just don't know who the fuck you are. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna block you right now. You're just annoying me. Not even because you're saying anything disrespectful. I just can't. I don't get. I'm not just. Okay. Enjoy your night. Okay, so I just got a random fucking surge of energy. I have no idea why. But here I am. Let's see what's up. I'm definitely not gonna save this one, guys. Definitely not gonna. This isn't gonna be up. I'm deleting this as soon as I'm done with this. So you guys are here who are here for the show. Enjoy it while it's here, because this shit isn't gonna be on. I just realized I had this belt buckle undone the entire time. I must have looked pretty damn goofy. I never had a Red Bull. I'm not gonna get crusty. I'm not gonna get crusty, guys. I don't know what you mean by that. It sounds like, I don't know why I think of an STD when you say that. That sounds nasty. Crusty? Oof. All right, random question. Have any animals, dogs, cats, horses? Okay. I used to have a dog. I used to have a little chihuahua. Her name was Toyperina. And she was named after an indigenous rebellion leader. She was named after yeah. She was badass. But I named my chihuahua after Toyperina. You can look her up. dope ass badass story about her. Anyway, she was stolen by a homeless man in the front of my apartment. I left her out for a little bit, and I was gone for a protest. And next thing you know, I come back and my dog is gone. And someone said that they saw a homeless man go into my yard and just take my fucking dog. And ultimately, that really pissed me off. That made me. I was pissed off, and then I was depressed for like probably 3, 4, or 5 months. And yeah, that was the first dog I had on my own. I loved her. You know, if I see that homeless guy, he's done. That's all I gotta say. Hello, sir. I'm sorry if I'm wrong in assuming, but are you of Native American descent? I mean, my whole channel is, dedicated to that. But yeah, I am. Like talking about that, indigenous ancestry. I am Native American. I would consider myself Native American. Yeah. I like the term indigenous American. I'm kind of leaning more towards that at this point in my life, because I feel like indigenous American, the connotation with Native American, people really are sold on the idea of US, Canada, especially US. That's what a Native American is, even though, the United States isn't America. America, the Americas, is a continent. North, Central, South America, from Greenland down to the tip of Chile and Argentina, including the Caribbean. That is the Americas. And if you are from the original indigenous peoples, you are considered a Native American. You should be anyway. But because the way, history came to be, everyone thinks that Native American is US, Canada, or specifically more so US, United States. But that ain't the case, my friend. It's okay, my friend. Oh, I'm sorry. This is my first time joining this stream. Oh, it's all good. I'm teasing you. Are you related to the famous gambler Mickey? I have no idea who that is. Do you know any iron workers? I do not. What is your name? My name is Gabriel. But I go by Bear as well. I also go by Huso.com. And I've also gone by Clear Bear. I know many of you might be thinking to yourself, why the hell does this guy have so many names? Well, traditionally, native peoples from several cultures had multiple names. And, I'm not ashamed of that fact. A lot of people might think it's weird or strange, but yeah. What happened with the shirts you showed last time? Are they done? Yeah, they're done. I was supposed to make a post about it today. I just didn't know if any of you guys really liked it or not. Do you guys really like those shirts? I don't know if anyone would. I mean, I'm not gonna sell them for crazy amount of price, or it's not gonna be super expensive, but I don't know. You get it. I have made a promise that I am going to help some indigenous communities. A percentage of that profit will go to help our people. I'm not sure where exactly quite yet, but I know that at least, I believe it was 10 to 15% of it would go to helping support a Native community in the Americas. Do you have a favorite Mexican MMA boxing fighter? That's a great question. I do. One of them in MMA would be Cain Velasquez. I also like Tony Ferguson. In boxing, there's a lot. I would say Juan Manuel Marquez. Um, I don't really like Canelo. I've never really been a Canelo fan. I don't hate him. I think he's a great fighter, but he's just whatever. Any books that have helped you learn a history of the indigenous peoples here in the Americas? There's too many to list in boxing, too many to list in MMA. You know, you look at Mexican fighters in combat sports, we're all over the place. We're good at fighting. Any books I recommend? Let's see. I recommend Mexico Profundo. That's a good one. I always go there because it's a great book. If you're down about it and you want to learn more, check that book out. I also recommend, what else do I recommend? I recommend Indigenous Peoples' History of the Americas. I recommend On Savage Shores by Caroline Dodds Pennock. I recommend, what else do I recommend? Mexico, the colonial period. There's a lot of different books I recommend. I'd have to write down a list of all the books I recommend and make a whole live on it. Shout out to Chumash, brother. Respect to the Chumash. Respect to the Spirit Lake Nation. You know, any of you Native Americans on here, Indigenous Peoples of the Americas, you know, you get an automatic shout out. So there's my love to you. You know, representing Brown Pride, Native Pride, Red Nations all across the Americas, 110%, straight up. Alaskan Carver says, I recommend The Education of Little Tree. I'll check it out. That's pretty cool. I buy the cheapest smokes from the tribes. They have good tobacco. Unfortunately, I don't smoke no more. I used to smoke a couple years ago, but I'm done with that. You speak Spanish? Poquito. I speak a little bit of Spanish. My favorite color, that's a great question. I would have to go right now. I'm loving blue. I'm loving blue. I also like dark brown. And then I'd say red. Actually, no, I like the light blue. Light, medium blue. Smoke that peace pipe, huh, bro? Back in the day, yeah. I used to have a long pipe. A really long pipe. And I know you guys with a sick mind are thinking about it right now. I know you guys are thinking the wrong thing when I say that, you sickos, you bastards. Anyway, love to Native American people from Jordan. Free Palestine. Free Palestine. Hope you guys are safe. Take care, guys. Do you know any of the lucha libre wrestlers like Canek or Mil Mascaras? I know of the Blue Demon. El Santo, I've heard of, just like the basic ones. I'm not super into lucha libre like that, but I do respect the art form. Shout out to Kakichil, Kachikel, Maya tribe. Shout out to y'all. Respect. You ever been to a sweat lodge? Yes, I've been to sweat lodge in the Bay Area. That was like the first spiritual indigenous American experience I ever had when I was on my reconnecting journey. I used to go to sweat lodge every Sunday. Every Sunday I'd go. And it was a pan-indigenous sweat lodge. So we had people from Alaska. We had some Inuit people. We had people who were Lakota who led the sweat lodge. We had people from El Salvador who were Pipil. We had people who were who else did we have? We had people from Peru too, Quechua. We had Seri Comcaac from northern Mexico. We had a lot of different nations. And every Sunday we'd get together We do a 5 round sweat, and then afterward, it was the best. It was the best part because after we were done, we'd always have deer, we'd always have bison meat, and we'd have one hell of a big ass feast, and it was an amazing time. Those are some of the best times in my life. I can't believe I don't. I should think more fondly of those memories because they're good ones. But ever since I moved away, I haven't been able to get in contact with sweats quite like that. But it was good. It was a good time. I want to go back because the Bay Area is where I got connected. And I'm not saying that the Bay Area is some sort of like mega center for indigeneity. I mean, in a way it kind of is, but in a way it isn't. You know, like I said, the state of our people's minds, where you want to find the reconnecting community, the reclaiming community would be in LA. But I will say that that community, you know, just because you reclaimed your indigenous identity, you've reconnected and you've been doing the work, doesn't mean you're a healthy person, doesn't mean you're a good person, doesn't mean that you don't, you know, there's also healing other aspects of it. You know, there's also intergenerational trauma, and I've seen a lot of trauma, a lot of it. You know, that survivor mentality, that collective narcissism that is bred in communities where there are a lack of resources is very real. And I think to myself when you know, I just I see it. I see it. My favorite song right now, that's fucking hard. My favorite song would probably be, I don't have a favorite song. That's so hard. But a song I like right now, I would say is, I'd say Native Blood by Testament. It's one of them. It's kind of a cheesy song. It's a really heavy metal song, but I like it. It's a good message. The message is what I fuck with more than the song. It has some good melodies to it, but it can be kind of overboard. But I like it. Favorite movie I'm gonna say right now, it's Mi Familia. You haven't seen it? It's free on YouTube. Check it out. Mi Familia, great movie. Check it out. It has some indigenous elements, but it's not like super focused on it. But it's there, you know. It just tells the story of a family, you know. Have you watched Dune 2? No, I haven't. I watched Dune 1 and I thought it was a little bit boring. I know a lot of you guys are going to hate me for that, but I'm just going to be honest. It was a little bit boring. Have you watched Killers of the Flower Moon? I have not seen it. I hear bad things. I hear good things. I don't really, you know, I think the story itself is interesting, but I don't care to see that. I mean, I don't need to see, you know, some sort of, I know the story enough. I don't need to see it played out in a film. It's just a fucked up, you know, story. I don't feel a need, you know. And I don't want to support that either. I don't like it. I don't like that they're glorifying the killers of innocent people, an innocent Native family. That's just fucked up to me. The movie is trauma porn. Why would I say? That's just my opinion, though. If you like Martin Scorsese, if you like them, then to each their own. But I'm not gonna watch that shit. I didn't hate Dune 1. I actually liked the books. My dad was a big fan of the books. I like Frank Herbert. Cool dude, cool guy. Very artistic dude. I just thought that the films could have been just a little bit more entertaining. It was just a little bit of a snooze fest, the first one. But it's like, it's weird because it was a bit boring for me, but it was I would say really, the concept was so intriguing. The idea of it is so fascinating to me. The world building is so fascinating to me that I don't hate it. I just thought it was a little bit boring. I like Star Wars. I like Lord of the Rings. I like Harry Potter, but I prefer out of all of them, I'd say Star Trek. But I'm not like a super big Star Trek fan, but I do like Star Trek. You know, I have some what was it? Oh yeah, I have some trolls in the comment section right now, but I'm okay with it because you're boosting my live. So thank you for that. I appreciate you commenting and boosting the viewership on my live account. Thank you so much. You guys are awesome. Um, what would you name a native fast food chain? I'm not gonna answer that. It's fucking stupid. I'm reading Dune. It's very wordy but interesting. Yeah, it is a bit wordy, but I think it is cool nonetheless. Oh, nice. Personally, I've never watched any of the Star Trek movies or read any books. If I had $100 million, what would you spend it on? I'd buy land. One. I'd make a community center. You know what? I'd probably either make a community center or a school dedicated to indigenous peoples. And then I'd help our peoples by creating one of the first centers dedicated to genealogy. I'd have a genealogy program to help reconnect, help our people reconnect. And then I'd have a whole organization. I shouldn't share everything I do, to be honest, but I do a lot. Don't worry, guys. You mentioned you and a friend were writing something. Is that something new or you have always written? It's something newer. Uh, we're working on a script. We're working on a film that I'm assisting with. I'm producing it. I'm helping him hash out, helping him brainstorm. We're working on it together, but he's very much the writer and stuff. I'm just because I'm busy. I'm a busy guy. I have a lot of shit that I'm doing. I'm trying to get some things done in my personal life, and of course, focus on my content creation. But my art. But I'm helping out with it. I'm excited for it. What happens with it? I think you're right. I think we need to be a little bit more aggressive. I was blessed to eat blue whale in Moab, Utah, gifted by the woman of an Inuit tribe. Such a beautiful experience. That sounds awesome. Nice. I think one time you said and played a song you wrote, or was it your brother? It might have been me. We've written a couple songs together, I guess. Do you like hiking? I like hiking. I go on walks every day. I try to get at least 45 minutes in the sun and walking outside every day. It's good as a base, as a maintainer, of general health. So I highly recommend walking, long distance. Gonna pedal my canoe through the whole Grand Canyon, sold all my stuff. I'm a bit nervous, but got some good people I'm going with. Don't be nervous. If it's gonna make you happy, then do it. Is it scary to go hiking? I don't find it scary. I find it the most peaceful. I don't consider it hiking. I mean, I'm not super out in nature. I just like going for long walks. I feel like when I go on long walks in the sun, I usually go shirtless, so I get all the sun. And I don't know, I feel really primal when I do it, because I just go on long walks in the sun. I feel like you need sun, especially us melanated colored people, especially us indigenous people. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like a surge of energy, and I feel a surge of like a testosterone. I feel like it feels good. So I recommend it. Get in your sun, going for long walks. Base health, guys. Before you start trying to be Mr. Superman or Superwoman, before you try to do all that shit, just stick with the bare bones basics and just start fucking walking. I swear to God, it'll make you feel way better. You hear me? That's my tip to you guys. All right, so someone just asked me this question, and it sounded kind of sad, but I'll answer it. Hi, Bear. How does one keep on having hope? It's a great question. I'm going to say this. Hope is a practice. Hope is a practice, guys. Just like peace is. Hope is a practice, not a hope. Peace is a practice, not a hope. They're practices. It's like lifting weights. I can hope that I get stronger and more in shape and I eat better, and I can hope all I want, but if I'm not practicing the muscle, practicing lifting weights and strengthening my muscles, I'm never gonna get stronger. I'm never gonna have bigger muscles or whatever you're trying to do. I'm never gonna be healthier if I don't try eating better and keep that as a consistent practice. And I believe the same can be said with hope. The same things can be said with peace. You have to practice peace. Peace can be practiced through breathing techniques. Peace can be practiced through, like I said, walking in the sun, getting your exercise, and listening to the quietness of nature. I feel way more at peace, way more hopeful, and I feel a sense of tranquility when I do it. And I recommend it. I recommend it. That shit will change your life. But I want you to put yourself in a trance. I put myself in a trance. I tell myself this: hard work, dedication, whole world can go against me, I'm still gonna come out on top. Hard work, dedication, whole world could go against me, I'm still gonna come out on top. Hard work, dedication, whole world could go against me, I'm still gonna come out on top. And it's like you're putting yourself in this trance, like a meditative trance of believing in yourself. And when you get there almost instantaneously when you just tell yourself, like, I got this. I really got this. Every sort of athlete, every sort of successful person has had a sense of belief, and I'm not the most successful guy in the world, but I do believe in myself. I do believe in myself, and I think it's important for the decolonization movement, for indigenous activism, for anyone who's trying to better their lives. They gotta believe in themselves. Don't be egotistical, don't be arrogant, but believe in yourself. As hokey and as cliche and as overstated and as bare-bone basics, simple-minded as that may sound, you gotta believe in yourself, guys. It just starts there. I can do it. I can do it. It starts with truly believing you can do it. Muhammad Ali even said it himself. He told himself in the mirror and he'd put himself in a trance. He'd tell himself that he was the greatest. There's a quote that he said, I told myself I was the greatest even before I truly knew it. You have to speak a mantra. You need to believe in yourselves, guys. So that's my little advice. I'm not a fucking motivational speaker or anything, but there's my 2 cents. Believe in yourself. Hard work, dedication. Whole world could go against you, but you're still gonna come out on top. You understand? Hard work, dedication. Whole world could go against you. I don't care who it is. It could be your boss. It could be your mom. It could be even your negative thoughts. Even those could go against you, but you're still gonna rise above it. You're still gonna kick ass, and you're still gonna come out on top. You gotta truly believe it. Keep saying it until you do believe it. Look in the mirror and tell it to yourself. It helps me. I swear to God, it helps me. I really do like your clothing. Do you create your own clothing or do you shop at a certain store or website? I got this by Runamaki Indigenous Hand. It's an indigenous brand from South America, actually. It's handmade by South American indigenous peoples. So a lot of people think, oh, these symbols are exclusive to the United States and Canada. But guess what, guys? I'm gonna tell you a shocker. These symbols are being utilized all over the Americas outside of those areas too. This shit is like common, and these symbols are been around for a very long time in South America, in Central America. But everyone, again, they associate this imagery with a very specific native peoples, right? And they're not bad peoples. They're not, it's not their fault, but it's like due to that Eurocentrism, that Anglo, Euro, British Empire, English-speaking centrism, that we think this way. We need to we need to unlearn this, and we need to open up our minds and realize what? We need to realize that indigenous Native American people exist in the Americas as a whole, not just the United States, not just Canada. We exist in Greenland, okay? We exist in Mexico. We exist in the Caribbean. We exist in Haiti. We exist in the Dominican Republic. We exist in Puerto Rico. We exist in Guatemala. We exist in Belize. We exist in Honduras. We exist in Paraguay. We exist in Uruguay. We exist in Costa Rica. We exist in Colombia. We exist in Brazil. We exist in Argentina. We exist in all these different places because they are part of the Americas. And everyone in the Americas, every indigenous American, is connected by what is called the 9 repeat allele. The 9 repeat allele is the specific genetic marker that all Native Americans have. It is a unique genetic marker that no other peoples of the world have. Does that mean we're special or we're superior to other races? No, it doesn't, but it means that we're related to one another. People don't, and I have to, really emphasize and try to bring this home, because a lot of people, even our own people of North America, United States, Canada, don't seem to register that there are other Native Americans outside of themselves. Not all of them, but a vast majority of them, because there is an ignorance. There's an issue within the education system on bringing this to light. It's not their faults. Even people in Mexico are uneducated on these facts, or the Americas, generally in the Americas. And that's okay, but we gotta bring it out for what it is, It's okay. Baby steps, Rome wasn't built in a day. Or that's colonial. Here, let me, a little Eurocentric there. Here, let me say, Tenochtitlan was not built in a day. The Great Pyramid of Cholula was not built in one day. It took time, guys. Let's have patience for ourselves. Let's have patience for our people. Let's not be fucking pessimistic. A lot of you guys are just thinking of colonial. You know, you're saying we should not have the victim mentality, right? But then we get caught up in the sadness of it all. And there's a place for that. There's a place for the healing. There's a place to be there. But there should be also a place for the optimism. There should also be a place for the beauty in life, the beauty of our people currently. Even with the struggle, there's a beauty. You know, right now, us talking about these things that aren't very much spoken about is resistance. We're rising above it. Or at least we're starting the conversation. There is a step further because we're normalizing it in our everyday conversations. And that is a win, my friends. Like I said, hard work, dedication, whole world could go against us, we're still gonna rise up on top. That's the end, you know, that's what this channel is about at the end of the day. This channel is not about woe is me. This channel isn't about, oh, we can't do it. This channel is about, oh, let's give up. This channel is, no, hard work, dedication, the whole world could go against us, we're still gonna rise up on top. I'm sorry, there it is. Are you still practicing martial arts? I still practice martial arts. I practice jujitsu. I've been practicing that since I was 14. Practice wrestling. I do freestyle and folk style wrestling. And I do dabble in some Muay Thai. I do dabble in some boxing. But I've always naturally been more into wrestling and submission grappling, jujitsu, and judo, which are all forms of grappling. I know what you're gonna say. Isn't jujitsu gay? Blah 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 blah. No, it's not. There's nothing. You know, it's just really homophobic and just, you know, fuck you for that sentiment. You know, it's not very gay when you know you're choked to death or your arm's broken. You know. What's up, Rocky Balboa? Just gotta remember the original American warriors rather die in battle than give up. There's a Bata quote. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's a Bata quote. That's actually a better quote. This is a better quote. Emiliano Zapata. I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. That's the mentality too. I would rather die on my feet, living in freedom, with the looming threat of danger right around the corner, than live on my knees, being subservient to the whim of tyrants, to the whim of abusers, to the whim of people who are desecrating my very existence by trying to silence my people, by brainwashing them, believing that an aspect of themselves, their own race, is lowly, uncivilized, and unworthy. That is another angle as well. And I completely agree with that user, and I agree with the sentiment of the great indigenous leader, Emiliano Zapata. Where am I from? Are you asking where I was born and raised from? Or are you talking about like my race, my background? Well, I'll answer both questions. I was born and raised in the Bay Area, 15 minutes by San Francisco, in a little town called Pacifica. I was raised there, but I was born in Santa Clara, which is also in the Bay Area, right next to San Jose, which is in Northern California. I lived there a majority of my life. When I was around 18 years old, I left to Los Angeles. Lived there for a couple years. When I was about 24, I moved over to San Diego. I stayed there for probably maybe about a year and a half. I moved over to San Diego for probably about a couple months. Then I moved and lived in Tijuana for about a year. And then from Tijuana, I moved over to New Mexico, been here for the last 5 to 6 months. I'm over here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Been kind of doing the nomadic thing, but I miss California, the place that I was born and raised. And my indigenous ancestry is from north central Mexico, which is Guachachel Guamare, which is a Chichimeca group. From my mother's side and from my father's side, I am Yoreme, from Sinaloa, specifically Guasave, which our people call Guasavepa. Is Canelo native or indigenous? My guess would be that he's predominantly of European ancestry with a little smidge of native indigenous American ancestry. Yeah, the native culture is pretty strong in New Mexico. There's a lot of natives. They do. I did hear the other day 2 homeless native men speaking their indigenous language to one another. It was pretty impressive. So yeah, they do. Do you know how to speak your language? I can speak a little bit of it, but I'm not fluent. They were like 30. They were like 38, 40. They were a little bit. They're older. Yeah. I speak a little bit of Spanish too. I can speak a little Spanish. I can speak a little bit of Yoreme, but I mainly speak English. But I'm trying to change that. Wasn't there light-skinned native people in Mexico though? Or am I wrong? I heard that from someone, not sure if they are right. I've never claimed that there wasn't light-skinned natives in Mexico. There's light-skinned natives in Mexico. There's light-skinned natives all over the continent. We are not a monolith, and we are not all one skin color. Some of us are dark, really, really dark. Some of us are pretty damn light. And yes, even full-blooded Native Americans can be light-skinned. You know, G.G. Allen, that's not true. Because if you look at some of the Inuit people, they're pretty light-skinned and they're full-blooded. It's just the fact that, some Native nations have lighter skin. Yes. I mean, they're still brown in a way, yeah. I mean, it's not, the brown thing isn't to be taken too literally, but yes. What's up, Zigzag? We're talking about random shit right now. You're the worst native. Only English speaking. No snake guards. You know, you're the worst native for liking Gigi Allen, you dork. And now you're gonna get off. You lose the privilege of being on this prestigious YouTube Live. So, bye. See you later. There is a Native American History Month. It's in November. It just isn't very popular. I support Palestine, but I'd have to know more about the issue at hand. You know, I don't know as much. I don't know that much about what's going on with Israel and Palestine enough to have a serious opinion on it. Most of my activism and most of my mental energy goes into trying to help Indigenous Americans. That's the plight that, you know, unfortunately affects, you know, most of my community, all of my community, and myself. So, right now I'm trying to defend that. I try to learn what I can, but ultimately that's kind of my focus. Other than Indigenous Americas, is there any other Indigenous culture you find quite interesting? I think Polynesians are pretty interesting. I would say the Mongolians are pretty damn interesting. I like their wrestling. I would say, what else? Some Filipinos are pretty damn interesting. Thai is pretty interesting. Japanese people are pretty interesting. The Ainu people of Japan are pretty cool. The indigenous people there. I would say some African nations I find pretty damn interesting. I find, you know, some in Europe. I find some indigenous tribes of Europe interesting. Indian, the indigenous people of India are pretty damn interesting. And yeah. So the 9 repeat allele. Teach me how to win in casinos, but you play with your money first. I've never been a gambler. I kind of get what you're trying to do there. You're trying to insinuate because I'm Native American or indigenous that I know about casinos and all that. Oh, how funny, how original. But I'm sorry, but I don't do that. Nice. Agree. Those are very interesting. When you get to the indigenous roots, it can be fascinating. Absolutely. Where do you find your information on natives of the Americas? I've been wanting to learn how to go about researching the correct way. Thanks. Okay, so, you know, it depends on there's so many books that that I've read, there's also a lot of information I've gotten directly from tribal elders. So what I'm trying to say is, it can be a bit complex to try to narrow that down. So if there's a specific, knowledge that you've heard me say or share that you want me to cite a source or something, I could probably do that for you. But there'd be, if you want the sources, then it would be just a ginormous list of various elders and various books. So I could give you some right now. I said on Savage Shores by Kierland Dodds Pennock. To Die in This Way, The Myth of the Mestizaje. What else? Mexico Profundo by Guillermo Bonfil Batalla. An Indigenous People's History of the Americas. What else? I'm just giving you names of books off the dome right now, but yeah. What else? What else is there? Oh yeah, I would also recommend an Inca account of the conquest of Peru. That's a good one. California Indians, A History of California Indians. It's pretty damn good. Indigenous American Indian Contributions to the World is a really good book. What else? Yes, I'm Native. Do I have any Roman DNA? Not that I know of, no. "23 and Me" can be fun. Oh god, I'm like fusing words. 23 and Me. There's some pros and cons. Use it cautiously. It may be able to help you find family members and find out more family history, if you use it right. So it's what you make of it. What do I do for fun? I like to exercise. I like to do long walks. I like to train jiu-jitsu, wrestling. I do like some boxing, kickboxing. I like to read books. I like history. I love movies. I love watching movies. I like making reels. I like sharing history. I like Indigenous history specifically, but I like other history as well. The human world just fascinates me, our history as a species. I like playing guitar sometimes. I like singing sometimes. I like horror movies. I love horror movies. I love thrillers. I love superhero movies. I love comic books. I sometimes read a lot of comics. I'm a big fan of the X-Men. I feel like I think our plight as Native American people, we can really relate to X-Men. Like, just the whole what they deal with is like very similar. And what I say, I said this earlier, but I feel like the US Native Americans who are federally recognized and who are more visible in media remind me of the Avengers. And the retribalizing, detribalized Native community who are reconnecting remind me of the X-Men. I feel like that's similar. And I feel that with the history of the government trying to suppress us, sterilize us, ignore us, and erase our existence is very relatable to what the mutants face in the X-Men series, in the comic books and in the movies, because the government is trying to do very much the same to them. You know, they see them as a threat. And I think that, you know, we have power, and I'm not saying like mutant powers, like that, like in a fictitious sense, but I do think that we have power as indigenous people that is often not realized. We don't realize our own power as a Native American peoples. We have a deep connection with the land, and I think that connection is powerful, powerful beyond measure, and we need to realize it. When I say we realize it, is, you know, get in touch with ourselves, and reconnecting is part of it, but also being in touch with yourself is part of it too. Believing in yourself is part of it too. I'm spiritual. I believe in a creator. I believe in the great mystery. I believe in, you know, that sense of indigeneity. I believe in my ancestors. I believe they guide me. I believe they help me. Not just my own ancestors, but I believe our people help me. And I believe that they will help whoever calls on them. The ancestors, our people, the ones who came before us. And I believe if you ask, they will guide you. They will help guide you. They won't give you all the answers. They won't, you know, you know, they won't do all the work for you, but they will guide you. They will help you. They will assist. But you have to ask. You have to pray to them. Do you do any video gaming? If so, have you played Guacamele? Guacamele. It's a Mexican-centered video game with indigenous representation. I have not played it. Would you join the UFC if given the opportunity? If I knew I had a solid chance at competing with those high-level athletes, and I got offered by Dana White, the president of the Ultimate Fighting Championship, the UFC, to be in an MMA fight, I would 110% accept it. I would do it. I would fucking do it. And I'd be, you guys know me, I would rep Native Pride all the way right there. I would rep it all the way. So yes, I would. But do I think that's realistic? I think it's realistic. I do think if I wanted to do it, I feel like I could do it. But I don't know if that's necessarily my calling in life. I love martial arts, I love MMA. I've been training it for a very long time. But, you know, there's CTE, there's brain damage that comes with that. And I think that my fight is here it's here in the activism. It's here in the activism, it's here in the history, education. It's here using my mind and not necessarily using my fists primarily. That's more of a self-defense, keeping in good shape, competing to be the best version of myself I can be, but not necessarily, you know, my life per se. I'm 26 years old. What weight class would you be in the UFC? I would be light heavyweight, I believe. At my weight class, I would be a light heavyweight. I believe. Yeah, I'd be a light heavyweight. Take it easy. Native pride. Bear, serious question. I took a DNA test and I'm 62% indigenous. My map shows southeast Texas and northeast Mexico. What do I tell people when they say go back to your country? Say I'm already here. I'm indigenous. Who can defeat John Jones? Ooh, shit. I don't know if anyone really could, but maybe a prime Ken Velasquez and maybe a prime Fedor Emelianenko. My favorite MMA fighter right now in the UFC would probably be Alex Pereira from Brazil. He's representing the Tupi tribe of the Amazon. I believe it's Tupi. Or maybe, it was Patacho. Patacho. He's badass. Yes. Yes, I am. Although I'm a skinny bastard. Well, moderately skinny. What do you think of Khabib style? Do you have a favorite woman fighter? Khabib style, I love it. That Eastern European fighting style with the wrestling, he's a beast. Everyone underestimates wrestling and the power of wrestling, but most of the champions are wrestlers. That's not to say that striking is useless. It's absolutely pivotal. It's very important, but I'm just saying that wrestling is a fucking powerful base. Wrestling is a powerful base for MMA. And Khabib's wrestling is just on another level. It's just on another level. And, a lot of those, Dagestani wrestlers are just beasts when they transition to MMA. They're great. My favorite drink? Probably prickly pear juice. Do you do kickboxing? Yes, I do. Right now, I actually am training Muay Thai. Do you drink alcohol? Rarely, not really. I don't really drink alcohol. I think that shit's bad for your head. But most people out here drink. I get it, but I don't think it's healthy to make that too much of a norm. Once in a blue moon is alright, but you gotta distance yourself. Because that shit will pollute your mind. Just like this goddamn cell phone will pollute your mind. You gotta stay away from that thing too. We gotta be sharp. Do you have a favorite woman fighter? Yes, I do. Oh, yeah. Oh man. Ronda Rousey's sick. She kind of lost. I like Holly Holm. She's cool. I know she beat Ronda Rousey. This one made me. I met Holly Holm recently, actually. I actually live just up the street, literally 3 blocks away from where John Jones trains. I literally do at the Jackson Wink MMA. So for those of you who are MMA fans and you're a fan of John Jones and Holly Holm, I literally live just like probably 2 blocks up the street from where John Jones and Holly Holm train. And also Carlos Condit, he trains. He trains there too. I like Amanda Nunes. She's dope. She's badass. Joanna's badass too. Thanks for subbing. If you guys support me, please subscribe. That's the only thing I ask. Please subscribe, comment on my recent video. I appreciate that. If you really support me, if you're really down, it doesn't matter if you just comment a smiley face. Anything helps. Would you ever do competitions where you have to slap someone in the face? I don't see the point of that, you know? If I was to compete at anything, it'd be MMA, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, judo, boxing, weightlifting, even though I'm not a weightlifter like that. I used to be into weights, but I kind of just take it easy. I kind of just do calisthenics right now, but this shit's cool too. I'm just saying if I were to. The only thing I've competed in so far is wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Those are my 2 bases. I've never competed in boxing, never competed in MMA, but I think one day I will compete in at least MMA, at least once. Again, guys, hear me out. If you support my message, if you support my content, if you support the message of the people, please like and comment and subscribe on my recent. Have you ever been in a street squabble? I probably about I have been in several. Um, and I hate saying it. I don't even like talk like me as a guy who trains martial arts. Like it's a fun fact to bring up, but for me it's a little uncomfortable to talk about at times because every time I bring up that I do a martial art, I feel like, and I'm not saying all men, but I'm saying with a lot of men, it becomes this dick measuring contest. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone's trying to figure out, oh, who's top dog or who's top G. I train. I feel competent. I've been training for 12 years in wrestling and jiu-jitsu. I feel very confident in my grappling abilities and my fighting abilities. I don't claim to be like some sort of fucking Jean-Claude Van Damme type or a Bruce Lee type, but I train. And I don't know. It's just I don't know. Do you prefer gi or no gi? I don't like the gi, but I train a lot in the gi. I have been training a lot in the gi. I don't like it, but I enjoy it somewhat, but I prefer no gi a lot more because it's easier with my experience as a wrestler. It's because as a wrestler, we don't, that's my bread and butter is wrestling, is folk style and freestyle wrestling. So and I'm not like a master of wrestling or anything, but that's like my base. That's the first style of combat sports that I ever learned. And that is closer to no gi. Obviously, that would be closer to no gi. So I find it easier to translate the skills I learned into no gi. No gi grappling. Have you ever broken a board in half? Where in grappling, in jiu-jitsu, you're not breaking boards. It's more like karate and shit. It's more like focused on submissions, takedowns, throws, maintaining dominant control. Yeah, I know. I don't like it either. Is judo and wrestling similar? Judo is like wrestling, but like with a gi, which is kind of like, I guess, the closest thing I can think of it is like a kimono. And its focus is on throws and trips and submissions. But you're not allowed to grab the legs. And wrestling, folks down freestyle, there is no submissions, but you're allowed to do leg takedowns. So a single leg, lift people up, take them down. Double leg, grab both legs, take them down. You can do throws as well. Hip toss, head and arm throw, suplex. That's wrestling. And some of those moves are allowed in judo, but the leg takedowns are not. Like you can't do an ankle pick, you can't do double leg, you can't do a single leg in judo. But in wrestling, you can't do a rear naked choke. You can't do an arm bar. You can't do a north-south submission, right? You can't do an Americana. You can't do various moves that require submissions in judo and wrestling. That's against the rules. So there's pros and cons. Is karate and martial arts the same? Karate is a martial art. Martial arts is a broad term, umbrella term for several different styles of fighting, self-defense, philosophy. Jiu-jitsu and judo are martial arts. Karate is a martial art that's from Japan. Jiu-jitsu originates in Japan too. Judo originates in Japan. In fact, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu originates from Judo, which is from Japan, but was made more of a ground technique in Brazil. Wrestling originates, they say, in Greece, but there's also offshoots of wrestling that have been around in England. But wrestling is really indigenous to everywhere. Every culture has a form of wrestling, whether that be in the Americas. The Olmec had a form of wrestling. The Tarahumara, the Raramuri, the long distance runners of North Mexico, Copper Canyon, they have a form of wrestling. The Inuit have a form of wrestling. The Cheyenne have a form of wrestling. You know, wrestling is very much cross-cultural. Which one do you think is safer, judo or wrestling? They're both hard on the body. Safer? Shit. I would say judo because it's a little less intense. Judo is a little bit less intense. Wrestling is difficult. Wrestling is one of the hardest sports you could do. Wrestling is nonstop. Wrestling, you can easily fuck up your body. I fucked up both my knees. I had knee surgery on both my knees from wrestling. Wrestling will destroy your body. So will judo, but American judo is a lot more watered down. It's not as good as judo in like Japan. Japan is like really good. It's like just as intense as the wrestling in the US. Steve Austin isn't a real wrestler. That's WWE wrestling. What we're talking about is amateur, collegiate, Olympic level wrestling, which is different. A lot of you guys may think it's gay, you know, because you're ignorant to it, but wrestling is not. Wrestling is a martial art. Wrestling will save your life. Wrestling will make you strong. Wrestling holds its own with most martial arts. Wrestling by itself could probably handle most karate fighters. Wrestling by itself could probably handle a lot of boxers too. I'm not going to say it's the best martial art to do. I consider wrestling a martial art and a combat sport. You know, that's just my 2 cents. I feel like wrestling is one of those base physical human instinctual fighting styles because of how primitive it is in nature. You would think it is primitive, but if you know wrestling is really intricate. It's complex. It's not as primitive as you would think. It's very, very much a technical sport, and it's very difficult to master, truthfully. But it is very quick to be able to use it functionally in a fight. Wrestling is different from other martial arts like karate because it's been so commercialized and watered down. American karate versus a collegiate wrestler, typically the collegiate wrestler is going to win that fight because there's more pressure testing and pressure fighting than American karate. American karate has been, you know, it's called McDojos. Basically, it's been watered down in order for it to be more commercialized and accessible for the average lazy ass. You know, wrestling, you know, you can't be lazy and do wrestling. You have to be in great shape. With karate, with American karate, not traditional karate, but American karate, it has been watered down. There's barely any sparring, you know, and it's point fighting. It's not what I would recommend. Does everyone in wrestling have knee problems? Is there a way to protect your knees? Knee pads. Knee pads. A lot of those people with injuries from wrestling weren't wearing knee pads or knee braces. Wrestling is a very intense sport. It's like a sprint. I'm not here to be preaching that wrestling is the greatest martial art ever, but it is one of the top. Anyone who's trained or competed against a wrestler who's wrestled or grappled knows that grappling is no joke and they must have it in some form in their arsenal when it comes to fighting. Just like you need boxing, you need at least some level of basic boxing, you need some level of basic Muay Thai, you need some level of basic striking, you need basic fucking grappling. Everyone minimizes grappling until they fight someone who's grappling dominant or really good at grappling, and then they get their world fucked. They get wrestle fucked. In the MMA community, they like using that one. They get wrestle fucked because they don't know how to stuff a takedown. They don't know how to sprawl. They don't know how to defend a leg takedown. They don't know how to stop being thrown when it gets close. Because if they know how to at least moderately evade punches in basic boxing and basic Muay Thai, and they get in close and you don't know how to grapple, you're gonna get fucked. 9 times out of 10. I saw my homie who wrestled manhandle a dude 30 pounds heavier. Wrestling is a superpower. Grappling is a superpower. Boxing is a superpower. Muay Thai is a superpower. You know those things, you've trained, you've competed in at least a couple tournaments, you're probably going to be solid for the rest of your life as long as you maintain it to some level. Again, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Please follow. Please subscribe. I've been on here pretty damn fucking long. Yeah, grappling can help you fight fucking people. The first martial art Bruce Lee wanted his son to do was judo, which is a form of grappling, a form of wrestling, in a very basic bare bones sense. He wanted his son to know judo because he saw the effectiveness of it. In fact, if you look at what Bruce Lee had to say on wrestling and boxing, he said, if you want to beat any black belt, learn wrestling and boxing. I'm not making that up. Look that up. If you want to beat any martial artist, if you want to beat a black belt, learn wrestling and boxing. So take that with 2 cents. That's not me. That's the great martial arts legend Bruce Lee. He saw value in it. Don't be a fool. And I'm not saying you got to do wrestling. I'm not saying you got to do boxing. I'm not saying you got to do Muay Thai. But make sure if you're going to choose a martial art, it's pressure tested. Make sure it's pressure tested. What does that mean? Make sure that there's sparring involved. Make sure that you're actually going against someone who wants to tear your head off to some degree so you could learn what it's like. Because when it comes down to it, you can practice against air all you want. You could break all the fucking boards you want. But if you've never sparred a day in your fucking life, you're going to see the difference between hitting a board or punching a bag and actually being in a fight. 2 different things. The board doesn't punch back. The punching bag doesn't kick back. Those are great, those are great tools for your arsenal, but they're not going to teach you how to fight. You have to learn how to spar. You have to go against people. That's just the fact. You have to see what it's like to actually feel someone trying to fucking take you out. An MMA fighter will beat a wrestler. That's just a fucking fact. I'm not on one. I'm not in my delusion where I think a wrestler is going to beat an MMA fighter. I think maybe in some cases a wrestler could beat an MMA fighter, but that's far and few between. The average MMA fighter is going to fuck up a wrestler. Fact. Most likely. But all I'm saying is that wrestling is just very much underrated because it's not as aesthetically pleasing as other martial arts or other fighting styles. That's all I'm saying. Don't get it twisted. Thank you. Yeah, I actually do have several wrestling not wrestling, martial arts books. I'll show you them. These are a few of them. These are a few of my martial arts books. I got Street Stoppers, How to Translate Jiu-Jitsu and Wrestling and Judo, Sweeps and Throws into street fighting. Street Stoppers, highly recommend, very good book. I also recommend Nonstop Jiu-Jitsu. It's just the basics of Jiu-Jitsu. I got this a couple years ago to supplement my training. The Wrestling Drill book, I used to coach wrestling, fun fact. And it's a good one just for drills and basic exercises and techniques. And I got this book, Greco-Roman Wrestling. It's a good book. I'll tell you what, if I can get, will I give one of my subs a free book? Maybe. Maybe, we'll see. Bro, can you do a muscle up? I can do probably a couple muscle ups. Not a lot though, probably like three or four. In San Antonio, Texas, we don't have wrestling gyms for adults, which sucks. There are some, you need to find a wrestling club. In New Mexico, I was fortunate enough to find an adult wrestling club, and then I cross-trained it with judo and jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. Do we have a judo sambo club? We have I've had personal training by a sambo instructor. A guy who is a master in wrestling, a national champ in wrestling in Russia, and he also did sambo. Sambo is considered the third style of wrestling, even though it has striking, but it's very much grappling oriented. Can you do a one-hand push-up? I could probably do it. I'll do it right now, fuck it. If I had a pull-up bar, I'd show you a muscle up. But I haven't done a one-arm push-up in a long time. Oh, fuck. Let's see if I can do it. If I can even organize this fucking thing. Fuck. This is fucked. Okay, let's see if I can even fucking... If I do it, all those who are new, subscribe, okay? If I can do one muscle up, I'm not muscle up, one arm push up. I did two. It's late as fuck. And I didn't stretch out. Do 5 each hand and okay. do plants push-up. You guys got me doing shit at 1 a.m. at night. I need something out of this, so I'm gonna do all this working out. Do you run or jog? I run at least 3 times a week, 60 minutes. I can do a handstand. I can do a handstand. I can do diamond push-ups. I can do one-arm push-ups. I can do muscle-ups. I can do dips. Several dips. I can do at least... my pull-ups aren't the best. I can only do like 13 to 15. 15 on a good day, but I can do some. But can you do a push-up on one finger? That I cannot do. Be honest with you. I can't do a fucking finger push-up. That shit, that's hard. I'm not gonna do that. How do I manage my hair while working out? I usually just tighten a bun. Just get a hair tie, tie it in the back, and I just do my workout. Well, if you're too big to work out, then I'd recommend to go on a fast, because then you can lose a little bit of weight, and then maybe you'll be light enough where your balance isn't all out of whack. Should I sleep with bun hair or open hair if I have long hair? I usually sleep with my hair down. I don't go to bed with a hair tie on. I just keep that shit down. Yeah, that's a good one too. Start walking. Walk at least 45 minutes. Well, if you're just starting out, you could probably just do 15 and then go up to 20 and then go to 25 and then go up to 30 and then start walking until you reach 60 minutes every fucking day. But if you want to be a true one, if you want to be really overboard, but not really overboard, because this is how much our ancestors were walking. If you're Native American, on average, they're walking 2 hours a day. If you're Native American, your ancestors on average were walking 2 hours a fucking day. So, if you want to be, and they're out in the sun, a lot of people be like, oh, I have light skin. So I can't be native, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're not out in the sun fucking 6 to 7, 8 hours a day. You're not nearly out. If you're indoors all day and you're being sedentary, like our ancestors were not doing, they were outside all fucking day, of course you're going to be of a lighter complexion because you're not going to be getting the sun. I mean, it's common, it makes sense. I'm not live in California or Texas. I'm live in New Mexico, a place I will be leaving soon because I'll be moving my ass back to California. I'm done with this place. It's not bad, but I'm done. There's a lot of natives in New Mexico, but they're not really aware, and they don't really give a fuck about anything outside of. It seems like they don't give a fuck out of anything outside of their, a lot of drugs. A lot of drugs, man. There's a lot of meth over here, bro. There's a lot of fentanyl. A lot of people getting lost in the sauce. Do you upload your fitness videos on social media? No, I do not. I was thinking about it, but I don't think anyone would give a fuck if I did that. I feel like people are interested in more so in the history videos I make and shit. Maybe one day I'll try it to see what the response will be of it. What do you think, guys? Should I do fitness videos? Is your brother going to? You guys stay together. My brother's gonna come to California. We're gonna go together. We're gonna see if we're gonna stay together or not. Because he has his girlfriend and they're doing their thing, and I'll probably live with them for a little bit and be on my own way. Lone wolf it for a bit. Lone bear it, I guess. Travel around. Be a drifter. This movement needs to fucking grow. I might try. Bro, move out. Give them their own space. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I think they like me here. They like me here. But I don't know. Then I'm getting caught in their little fucking arguments, and it feels a little weird. I feel like I don't know. It's kind of weird. Meth out in state California is extremely bad. I'm out in Salinas, but I live in Modesto for now. Oh, wow. I believe it. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's time that I do my drifter thing. The only thing that's better here is I have my brother. I get to carry my weights with me. I mean, I get to carry my weights if I live with him. My weightlifting set, because I probably do the nomadic fucking trailer thing I used to do, or get a teardrop. One of those teardrop trailers, those nice ones, and travel around and try to do my activism. You have a large face, bro. Do I have a large face? What do you guys think? Do I have a large face? I know I have a round face, but is it large? Maybe it is. You know, my ex-girlfriend used to say that. She used to say I had Olmec face. Uh, you know, I'm not that's cool. I like that, the Olmec face comparison. I'm cool with that shit. Hey, it's because the anus. Whatever, fuck him. It's weird because there's a few of you talking right now, but there's like 50 people on. So it's like there's 50 people just watching this and not even saying anything. You have a large face like me. It's all good because we built for eating heavy jabs and never get knocked out. Hey, that's what's up. You right, you right. If you can see what I'm saying, oh, fuck you. I don't like this. Not you. Not you, Zigzag. I'm talking to Zoom VR, this dimwit over here. Goodbye. See you later, buddy. Just listening also. Sup, 8900? You better change your tone or you're getting your ass blocked. Not blocked. I'm not gonna block you. You haven't been that bad or anything. You're really not that bad, but you've just been a bit fucking weird. So I'm gonna consider, putting you on a timeout, okay? So you better behave, mister. Are you American? I'm indigenous. Indigenous first, baby. You have a Mexican girlfriend. Right now, I'm single. I'm keeping it chill. Keeping it chill. Keeping it chill. How many siblings do you have, or do you have any? I have a twin brother, Coyote. I have a. What was it? Oh yeah, I was. Sorry, I was adopted, guys. Remember? So, I just found out that I have a lot more half siblings than I originally thought. So I have a twin brother. I have a fucking half sister. I have two other half sisters who are also twins, and I have two other half brothers. So I have three half brothers and I have three sisters. Oh shit. Yeah. No, yeah, that's it. Glad you're here. Happy to be here. Thank you. Welcome in, Jay Dooley. I had a following in Kick for a while. That's what this reminds me of. Well, yep. Oh wow, I was in foster care, so yay. Mm-hmm. I was drawn to the history stuff, but find the martial arts stuff pretty intriguing. The thing is, everyone is doing martial arts right now. Everyone's talking about martial arts. Everyone's talking about fitness. I feel like it's been done. And with the indigenous activism, the history, it's not having a light shed on it. And two, I find it ultimately, in the scope of things, more important. You know, it might be more entertaining to be more into the martial arts or more into the fitness. Well, fitness is important because the health of our people. That's important too. And the martial arts, you could argue the same thing. But the consciousness of the indigeneity, to me, is more important right now. Have you all been together all at once? No. That's from my biological mom and dad. I have three brothers. No, two brother. One brother from my biological father, and then I have two sisters from my biological father, and then I have one brother, half brother. Oh no, I have two half brothers from my biological mother. Mother. Oh fuck! I actually have four. Yeah. No, I have four brothers in total, and then I have three sisters, but they don't know each other because some are from my mom, some are from my dad. Why do you think Mexicans are so good at fighting? I think some of it may be genetic. There was a recent study that Mexican American men, or Mexicans in general, have higher testosterone levels. So I don't know if that correlates, but it could be one of the reasons why we are pretty damn good at fighting. If Russia or China invaded America, would you fight? That's a hard question. That's a fucking hard question. You know, it's just like join a colonial entity to fight another colonial entities. You know, I'm just kind of like I don't give a fuck, dude. But if it came down to it, I mean, it just depends on the policies. It just depends on the policies. Like, what is China gonna do? What is Russia gonna do? Are they gonna help the plight of indigenous people, or is the United States gonna step up? I mean, it just fucking depends. There's so much nuance to that question. I don't even think I can answer it properly, brother. Did any of your siblings grow up on a reservation? No, no, they didn't. They're all from the barrio, the barrio, the barrio. They aren't. They know they have indigenous roots. They know that our mother identified as indigenous, but they're more into kind of like the Mexican colonial mainstream culture. That's their identity. That's all they. And it's not that they don't know that they're indigenous. It's just that culture is all they know, and that's what they've taken. That can be said for the majority of our people. And that's why I try to educate and try to explain that there's more to our identity. That we are indigenous, it's been suppressed. I would consider fighting, maybe. It just depends. Damn, I've been on for a long ass time, guys. Alright, guys. Would you fight for me? I have no idea who you are, so the answer to that question is fuck no. I'm sorry, my friend. But the answer is no. Alright, the U.S. does not give out cash payments to indigenous people. That's a random ass statement, but yes. The Mexicans are strong. I had two dropping off a washer for me, and they said, we don't need a dolly. We good, and I have stairs. I said, Zam Zaddy, you can pick my big ass up. Laugh my ass off. Nah, that made me chuckle. I want to see an indigenous president in the future. Hello, how old are you? Oh, how are you today? I'm good. Soon. Your ears look like Buddha ears. Thank you. Guys, if you like my content, if you vibe with it, if you feel it, please follow. Please subscribe. Please. Follow me. Hard work, dedication, whole world could go against you, still gonna come out on top. Remember that, guys. Do you have an Instagram? I have an Instagram. It's _ Gabriel, Gabriel, Hooso, Hooso _ Gabriel Hooso _ Gabriel Hooso _ Gabriel Hooso _ Follow me on Instagram. Follow a real player. Follow me. No. It's there's no underscore in the middle. It's Gabriel Hooso is one word. It's _ Gabriel Hooso _ Thanks for the mantra. Been a great vibe. I actually wrote the mantra down the first time you said it. I swear to God that mantra has been helping me the last week, several weeks. Believe it, guys. The sub. Okay, sub 800-900. You're just trying to be fuckwit. You know, you're out. You got what you wanted. You got me annoyed with your ass. Enjoy. Okay, so it's _ Gabriel Hooso _ Yep, you guys got it. Abraham Rodriguez, you got it. OG Light, you got it. You can see some of my writings. You look cool, thank you. But again, I'm gonna say it one more time because you guys need to really breathe and drink this in. You need to drink it in. When I say it, I want you to feel it in your fucking heart. I want you to feel it in your mind. I want you to be in trance. Okay? Whatever you want to do, whatever you're trying to do, you got the thing, you got the magic, you have it in you. Remember, the mindset is this. It's a simple fucking recipe, and I'm gonna give it to you guys. Hard work, dedication, whole world can go against you, you're still gonna come out on top. Hard work, dedication, whole world can go against you, still gonna come out on top. Hard work, dedication, whole world could go against you, still gonna come out on top. There it is. Say it. Still gonna come on top. All I gotta say is go out and win. Go out and win, guys. You got this shit. You gotta trance it, guys. You gotta manipulate your mind to truly believe it. Hard work, dedication. Doesn't matter who, what. You know, if it's a fucking hater, your friend talking shit behind your back, your cheating girlfriend or boyfriend, your mom who thinks you're a fucking nobody loser. It doesn't matter. Whatever it may be. You know, whatever it may be, even if it's your own head telling you that you're fucking ain't got it, man. I'll tell you one thing. You know, those narratives can go fuck itself. Those haters can go fuck itself. You know, you got this. Whole world could go against you, you're still gonna come out on top. Hard work, dedication, whole world could go against you, still gonna come out on top. Wake the Giant. OG Light, you've earned the privilege of being the next person to be blocked off my fucking live. Bye. You annoying little bitch. Okay. Enjoy the night. I just banned him. Sorry, guys. Sorry, you had to see a little toxicity there, but man. That made me cry, bro. I'm happy. Not that you're crying, but I'm happy that it could help. Because it helped me. It helped me, guys. I don't know, what about those words? What about that mantra? It just really woke me the fuck up. Hard work, dedication, the whole world can go against you. You are still gonna come out. You're still gonna come up on top. That works. There it is. We're here for real talk, not no bullshit. Exactly. You know, there can be some comedic elements, sure, but you know, this shit ain't a joke. It ain't a joke. It isn't. I mean, we can have some humor here and there. I'm cool with it. You know, but you know, the toilet humor, the middle school grade humor is just it's just annoying. You know, I know that's the point. That's what they're trying to do, but you know, just to me, it just comes off fucking annoying, like a little kid, like a little annoying, like you're a senior and there's an annoying freshman who's just got out of middle school and just annoying the fuck out of you. But yeah, it's important, that mantra, guys. I don't know, bring it home. Whatever it is, guys, bring it home. Yeah, every time natives try to have a real conversation, people try to sabotage it. It's so true. So true. I'll be on again soon, guys. I'm not going to say this live. So heads up. If you guys, you know, the few 50 something of you guys who are on here and got to join me, you know, you are the privileged few that got to see this. You know, this shit ain't going to be on for the world to see. I was too tired. I wasn't on my A game tonight. But I made a promise that I'd be on every Sunday, and I'm going to keep that promise on that end, but this ain't going to be on there. Next time I'm going to come back on top of this shit. All right, take care, guys. I'm gonna say it one more time. Hard work, dedication, whole world could go against you, still gonna come out on top. Take care, guys. I say that a million fucking times if I have to. Good night, guys.